Dear Leo, the miracle you've been praying for is not late. It's arriving right on to meet the last possible minute, just before you give up, just before you let go. And before it appears, life may feel like it's falling apart. But that's not a breakdown, it's a setup. The setup for something divine. The timing is not cruel. It's sacred. It's measured. It's earned. You didn't land on this video by chance. You've been guided here. This is not an algorithm. It's alignment. And if you've been wondering whether everything you've been enduring is leading somewhere, then yes, it is. That somewhere is here. That time is now. And this message is your confirmation. Things have felt uncertain lately, haven't they? You've noticed delays, reversals, closed doors. It's been exhausting trying to hold the vision when nothing around you seems to support it. But I want to remind you of something important. Spiritual growth often feels like spiritual silence. Your patience has been testing you, not punishing you. And if it's been quiet lately, it's because something loud is about to break through. Leo, you've always been the fire in the room. The light. The center. But even lions get tired of fighting battles in the dark. What you've endured lately, the emotional weight, the rejection, the doubt from others, was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to cleanse your path so that only the real blessings can remain. Karma is moving. Justice is in motion. And those who tried to diminish you, those who looked at your vulnerability and mistook it for weakness, are about to witness a turning point. Not in theory. In reality. This is not just a horoscope reading. This is a spiritual checkpoint. A line being drawn between who you used to be and who you are about to become. The miracle is coming at the last minute because it wants to meet the strongest, most refined version of you. The you who didn't give up. The you who showed up even when it hurt. The you who still believed at some heaven when there was nothing left to hold on to. So take this as a sacred reminder: you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. And everything that has felt delayed is simply preparing to arrive all at once. Before we go deeper, allow me to thank you from the deepest place of truth. Thank you for showing up. For pressing play. For trusting your intuition. For being part of this sacred community of light seekers, thinkers, and feelers. Every comment, every like, every share, every subscription brings this message further to those who need it most and helps keep this space alive and growing. Now I want to hear from you. What part of your soul brought you here today? Was it a feeling? A dream? A question that hasn't been answered? Whatever it was, it mattered. It mattered enough for the universe to pull you into this exact moment, this exact space. If you feel this message in your bones, if you know I'm speaking to something you haven't said out loud, comment below, "I'm ready for my divine turning point." Because saying it is how you claim it. And what you claim, your soul can begin to receive. Stay with me. There is more. So much more. And I promise, you'll want to hear it. What comes next may change how you see everything. There are moments in life, quiet, unsettling moments when everything feels like it's collapsing. Structures we thought were unshakable start to crack. Plans unravel. People we trusted shift into strangers. And we ask ourselves the most human question of all: why now? But from where I stand, and from the countless spiritual journeys I've walked with others, I can tell you this: the collapse is never the end. It's the conversation before the miracle. In your current cosmic alignment, dear Leo, you're experiencing what we in tarot call the Tower. Not just a card, but an energy powerful, disorienting, raw. It arrives like lightning, unexpected and uninvited, breaking apart anything that was never built on truth. But next to this card, I drew the Star. And that, my dear, changes everything. Because when the Tower collapses, the Star appears not as a reward, but as a promise. A promise that you haven't been forgotten. A whisper that healing is on the other side of chaos. That something greater is being born from what was never truly stable to begin with. And then, there it was, the Wheel of Fortune, reversed. A sign that cycles are being disrupted. Delays. Frustrations. False starts. This isn't bad luck. This is sacred timing. This is the divine testing the gravity of your faith, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because if you can hold your belief in the dark, you'll be ready to carry the light when it arrives. When everything around you feels like it's working against you, it's usually a sign that you're dangerously close to a breakthrough. It's a strange thing, I know. But energy often intensifies before it releases. Just like a storm swells before the skies clear. The resistance you feel isn't confirmation of failure, it's the final contraction before something is birthed. And if you've been walking through these emotional contractions feeling tired, misunderstood, unseen, you're not lost. You're not broken. You're in transition. Spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, this is the test of the last minute. The place where miracles slip in when you least expect them, but most need them. This is not the universe abandoning you. This is the universe asking, do you still believe, even now? Can you still hold your vision when your reality looks nothing like what you prayed for? Can you still trust that something good is forming in the rubble of what fell apart? And maybe that's why you're here. Maybe this message found you not to fix everything for you, but to sit beside you and remind you that you're not walking through this alone. Sometimes the most profound healing doesn't come through answers, but through presence, through knowing someone else understands this terrain and has made it to the other side. I've seen miracles happen on the edge of surrender. I've seen people who thought they had lost everything walk into seasons that were more abundant, more peaceful, more aligned than they could have imagined. But they had to let go first. Let go of the idea that control equals safety. Let go of timelines. Let go of who they thought would walk with them forever. And maybe that's what you're being asked to do now. Let go so something bigger can take its place. You are being invited into a spiritual reset. A divine disruption. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your life is being rearranged for something much more honest. This is not punishment. It's preparation. And on the other side of tears, on the other side of the tears, the silence, the why me, is a version of you that finally understands, you didn't lose anything meant for you. You simply outgrew it. And I want to hear from you. I want to know how this is landing in your heart. Have you ever felt like everything was crashing down just before something meaningful showed up? Share it in the comments. Say it out loud. Claim it. Because when we voice our truth, we move the energy. We say to the universe, I'm still here. I'm still ready. This part of your journey is sacred. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. And truth, no matter how painful, is the ground where miracles are planted. Let's water it together. There's a moment in every journey when the scales begin to tip, not by force, not by revenge, but by something quieter and far more powerful: alignment. If you've made it this far, dear Leo, then you've already walked through the fire of transformation. You've endured things others couldn't see and kept your dignity in spaces where others would have lashed out. And now, something ancient and cosmic is moving in your favor. Justice isn't just coming. It's unfolding in real time, and you, whether you realize it or not, are a living witness to it. What you're experiencing now is not random. Astrologically, we're in a window of karmic realignment. With Saturn pressing its weight in the Earth signs and Pluto slowly reshaping the structures in fire and air, old debts, emotional, energetic, even ancestral, are being recalculated. These are not punishments, they are rebalances. Not everyone will understand how this works. That's okay. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to observe, to heal, and to allow justice to move through you without becoming hard in the process. You may have noticed certain people re-entering your life, or perhaps their names pop up, uninvited, in your mind. This isn't coincidence. It's energetic feedback. Some of these souls owe you, if not in words or currency, then in acknowledgement. Not because you're looking for validation, but because the soul knows when something was left unresolved. And the beauty is, you don't need to go after it. That's the old energy. The new path asks you to stay rooted in your peace, anchored in your truth, and centered in your worth. Because from that position, you receive, not chase what is already yours. Think of it like this: the sun doesn't prove its brightness by fighting the shadows. It just rises. Quietly. Unapologetically. That's you right now. You are rising. Not through noise or performance, but through the sheer power of everything you've learned, forgiven, and surrendered. This is what being in the right energetic position looks like. It's not about controlling outcomes. It's about controlling your own frequency, your own responses, your own space. If you're wondering what you can do practically right now, the answer is simple: protect your light. Energetic hygiene is real. Surround yourself with what soothes your nervous system. Clean your space. Tend to your body. Wear colors that support the version of you that you are stepping into. This week, that means gentle authority and quiet healing. Try surrounding yourself with soft green toned stone, fabric, nature, anything that reminds you of breath and calm. And add gold, not loud or flashy, but intentional. Gold holds the frequency of divine sovereignty. It reminds your energy field that you are not in survival, you are in choice. And if you're still wondering if the people who hurt you will ever understand what they did, I'll tell you this: the universe knows. What goes out, comes back. Maybe not today, maybe not in the form you expect, but it comes back. You don't need to watch their downfall. You need to witness your own rise. That is the higher road, not because it makes you better, but because it makes you free. I invite you to take a moment after this video to sit quietly with your hand over your heart and say aloud, "I no longer carry what is not mine." Then breathe deeply. That small act will do more than you realize. Because the truth is, this part of your story isn't about revenge, it's about release. It's about opening the space for better, clearer, more reciprocal experiences to enter your life. If any part of you felt that this message was written directly to your experience, then leave a comment below to affirm it. Tell the universe, I am in alignment with divine justice. Let the energy know you're awake, aware, and no longer settling. You don't need to fight for what's already finding its way to you. Just be ready to receive it. Sometimes, the most life-changing invitations don't arrive with fireworks. They show up quietly. They come disguised as ordinary things: an unexpected message from someone you haven't heard from in a while, a sudden pull to revisit a project you once left behind, a casual opportunity that almost feels too small to matter. But if you've been feeling like something is circling back into your orbit lately, you're not imagining it. You're aligning with it. Right now, the energy around you is gentle but potent, almost like a breeze before a shift in the weather. And astrologically speaking, Leo, you're entering a window of synchronicity, a period when what seems random is actually highly intentional. The Knight of Cups in your reading is not just about romance or emotion. In this case, it's a messenger. Someone or something's coming toward you with an offering. But the real question is, will you recognize it when it comes? That's where the Fool enters. A symbol of new beginnings, fresh perspective, but also trust. The Fool doesn't wait for guarantees. The Fool feels the pull and steps into the unknown because the energy feels right even when logic can't yet explain it. And when that card appears beside the Ace of Pentacles, we're not just talking about chance. We're talking about a physical, tangible opportunity that is ready to root itself in your reality. Something you can build on. Something that may have been delayed until now because, frankly, you weren't ready to receive it. I want you to think about this. How many times have we prayed for signs, begged the universe to show us the way, only to dismiss the sign when it came because it didn't arrive how we expected? Sometimes we ask for abundance but overlook the seed. We want transformation but reject the disruption that makes space for it. What if this time, you simply paid attention to what feels small but persistent? What if the message isn't in what shouts, but in what returns again and again, quietly knocking? There are subtle signals all around you. Repeating numbers like 222 or 1111 may catch your eye not just on clocks but receipts, license plates, timestamps. A dream might leave you waking up with a strange kind of clarity, even if you can't explain why. A name or phrase you haven't heard in years might come back through someone else's mouth. These are not accidents. They are what I call green lights from the universe. Not dramatic, not forced but deeply personal. And if you've been asking for a breakthrough, these little nudges are your starting point. This isn't about chasing every coincidence. It's about trusting yourself to feel the resonance. The truth is, most divine invitations don't come labeled as such. They show up when your energy has shifted enough to be able to receive what once passed you by. And when something returns like this, especially under current planetary alignments, it doesn't come back the same, it comes back multiplied. If this part of the message stirs something in you, pause. Don't scroll past this. Let the knowing settle. You've done the work. You've waited. You've healed parts of yourself that once blocked your blessings. You're not the same person who let this opportunity slip the first time, and that's exactly why it's returning. Not as a test, but as a second chance. If you've ever received a sign you didn't recognize until later, or if you're seeing patterns now that keep tugging at your attention, leave a comment below and say, I've seen the universe's green light. Because naming it is claiming it. And what you claim becomes ready to enter. This moment is not random. This invitation is not small. And this time, Leo, I hope you say yes. Money has a way of teaching us things that words never could. Not because it holds power on its own, but because it reflects our beliefs, our fears, and most importantly our readiness to receive. If you've been navigating financial pressure lately, or quietly waiting for relief, this is not just a matter of numbers. It's an energetic moment. A karmic window. One where you're not being punished or overlooked, but where you're being re-invited to receive differently. In your recent spread, the appearance of the Ten of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Empress is no coincidence. Together, they speak not just of money coming your way, but of reparation, of financial return tied to something you once gave up, lost, or turned away from. And for some of you, that may include a moment where you refused help not because you didn't need it, but because you didn't feel worthy, or maybe you were trying to protect your independence. I say this without judgment. We've all done it. We've all said, "I'm fine," when our soul was quietly whispering, "Please say yes." But here's the beauty, the universe doesn't hold grudges. It waits. And when you're ready, it circles the blessing back to you, not to shame you, but to ask, "Are you open now?" Many of us grow up believing that abundance must be earned through constant struggle, or that help always comes with strings attached. But when we're evolving spiritually, financially, and emotionally, we're asked to unlearn some of those survival patterns. Because in truth, abundance isn't always wrapped in big wins or windfalls. Sometimes, it returns as a small offering, a second chance, a humble gesture, a door you overlooked before because you didn't think it was for you. Let me be clear. This time, it is. That humble opportunity, the one you thought wasn't enough, or the support you politely turned down, is circling back, but stronger. Not because the offer changed. You did. And because you've healed the parts of you that once rejected being seen, helped, or gifted, you can now receive without guilt. With openness. With gratitude. So here's something practical to consider as this shift unfolds. Watch your relationship with spending right now. When emotions run high, especially under certain transits, you may feel tempted to soothe through impulsive purchases or quick fixes. But the truth is, your stability isn't in the object. It's in the intention. Instead, channel that impulse into conscious action. Maybe that means tracking your flow. Maybe it means saying no to what's convenient in favor of what's aligned. Or maybe it's as simple as taking 5 minutes each morning to write one sentence. I am always supported. I am always enough. That small habit can start to rewire your relationship with receiving. Not from fear. Not from scarcity. But from knowing you are safe with more. And more is coming not to overwhelm you, but to elevate you. You're not just getting money. You're getting balance. You're stepping into a version of you that can hold prosperity without tension, without fear of losing it, without needing to over-explain why you deserve it. This is your invitation to receive from a new place. And if any part of this message speaks to you, if you felt the nudge that something you once let go of is coming back with interest, then say it out loud. Write it in the comments. I allow myself to receive money with compassion. Let the universe know you're ready to receive not just the blessing, but the belief that you're already enough for it. You've done the inner work. Now let the energy do the rest. There's a version of you bright, bold, radiant that you've tucked away for a while. Maybe life asked you to dim that light to fit into rooms that felt too small. Maybe you were told you were too much, too loud, too emotional, too passionate. So little by little, you folded in your power. You chose safety over expansion. And you survived. But you didn't thrive. And now, Leo, the universe is gently but clearly asking, are you ready to stop surviving and start stepping back into yourself? In this part of your reading, the presence of the Sun, the Queen of Wands, and Judgment isn't just beautiful, it's undeniable. These aren't passive cards. They're loud, they're warm, they're deeply alive. The Sun says, it's time to be seen. The Queen of Wands says, it's time to lead with heart. And Judgment? That's your soul's alarm clock, calling you back to a version of yourself you didn't lose, you just set aside. Energetically, what's happening here is activation. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. It's not about becoming someone new, it's about reclaiming the pieces of you that you were once told to abandon. Your voice. Your creativity. Your power. These are not flaws. They are instructions from your spirit. You were born with them for a reason. They are how you're meant to contribute light into a world that desperately needs it. If you've been having strange dreams lately, or feeling pulled toward things that once lit you up but you've long forgotten, pay attention. Those nudges aren't nostalgia. They're reminders. Some say healing is about becoming whole again. But I believe healing is about remembering who you were before the world told you to be someone else. Right now, we're moving through collective shifts that are stirring up ancestral energy. This isn't just about you, it's about your line, your legacy. There's a reason your spirit chose to be born into your family, with all its struggles and stories. You weren't sent to carry the weight. You were sent to end the cycle. You are the hinge point, the one who says, it stops with me. The one who says, our story gets rewritten here. This is the time to make a declaration. Not just in your thoughts, but in your body, in your breath, in your voice. Try writing this down and saying it aloud each morning. I am the one who ends the pattern of lack. I open the chapter of abundance for those who came before me and those who will come after. That sentence is more than affirmation, it's a spiritual contract. It shifts the energy not just for you, but for everyone you're connected to. Let your life reflect that truth. Make space in your days for creativity, even in small ways. Dress in colors that evoke your royalty. If you feel drawn to it, wear deep plum or wine red shades that vibrate with sacred power and inner wealth. And don't apologize for taking up space anymore. You were never meant to shrink. You were meant to anchor light. You're not here to prove that you're worthy, you're here to live like you already are. If this part of the message resonates with you, if something inside you feels like it's stirring again after a long silence, honor that. You are not behind. You are reawakening. And that is holy. I'd love to hear from you. If you're ready to reclaim the self you had to leave behind, leave a comment below and say, I am the most powerful version of myself. Say it as a beginning, as a bridge, as a promise. Because the moment you say it, something inside you shifts. And from that shift, everything else begins. If you've made it this far, then something inside you already knows. The path you're on isn't random. It's remembered. And maybe, just maybe, this entire message wasn't something new but something ancient, awakening in you again. We've walked together through 5 chapters, through collapse, through karmic justice, through unexpected offerings, through the return of abundance, and through the rising of your soul's true voice. And if you're wondering where it all leads, the answer is this: it leads to choice. Your choice. Miracles don't show up early. They wait for the soul to be ready, not just desperate. And now, you're ready, not because everything's perfect, but because you've chosen growth even when it's uncomfortable. Because you kept walking even when you didn't know where the road would take you. That kind of readiness can't be faked. It's lived. It's earned. You don't need to wait for a sign anymore. You've already received it in every sentence that made your chest tighten, in every image that felt like it was written from your own story. The miracle you're waiting for isn't out there, it's inside the version of you that finally believes, I am allowed to receive. I am worthy of light. I can start again now. So take a breath. Ground into this moment. And ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today to align with the version of me I saw in this message? Maybe it's writing down a truth you've been afraid to speak. Maybe it's saying yes to something you've been holding back from. Maybe it's simply whispering to yourself, I'm not stuck, I am shifting. You don't have to overhaul your life in a single leap. Just take the first step. Every breakthrough begins with a moment of willingness. And you've already proven you're willing just by being here, just by listening all the way through. That's more than most ever do. So I invite you to affirm this moment with your voice. Say it in the comments below so the energy can meet you where you are. I'm ready to receive my last-minute miracle. I release the old. I welcome the new. I choose to act with light. I am the one who ends ancestral lack. Each word is a seed. And like all seeds, they grow in the soil of action. If this message moved you in any way, let the energy keep flowing. Like the video if something resonated deep in your heart. Subscribe and turn on the bell if you want to keep receiving what the universe is lining up for you, because here at Eternal Mindfulness, every message is more than content. It's a transmission. A map. A mirror. Thank you truly for being here. Your presence is not just appreciated. It's powerful. Your energy helps this space grow. And your willingness to listen, to feel, to reflect. That's how we change the world, one soul at a time. And now, dear Leo, I ask you this with all my heart. What if the version of you who's been waiting is already on their way to meet you? Would you meet them halfway? Because they're not far. They're right on time.